Hey guys, Ev Views here. Been a long time since I made a video game review, but today I beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and it was a good game. It was a very good game. I heard very good things about it. I went in pretty high hopes, and it met the high hopes. It met the expectations, passed the bar, and yeah, I just want to talk about it. I might be a little rusty. It's been a long time since I've done one of these reviews. It's been a long time since I beat a game. I just beat Calamity Mod on Terraria after starting a world in December. It's now September, end of September. It was the beginning of December also. December 7th. I finished on September 22nd, I believe, the next year. So that took me a long time. And this has been a long time since I've beaten a game, especially a good game. And I've been replaying a lot of games lately. And a lot of games I already have reviewed were just games that like weren't like, like really like not much to say, honestly. But this game, this is the first like real like full length game that I haven't played before that I really enjoyed. I wanted to review it. I was just lying here and I was thinking, hey, I haven't reviewed games in a long time. Let's review this one. Okay, so Jedi Fallen Order. I forgot how I go about these. Let's think. Let's start. This the narrative. Let's start with narrative. It's a story game after all. Start with narrative. Story takes place between episode 3 and 4. That's a really nice little, not very not very like well charted time period in the Star Wars universe, and hasn't been other than Rogue One. There's like no like movies in between there. Not much really happens in between there. I think maybe some of the shows do. I don't know anything about the shows, but anyway, takes place between 3 and 4, and pretty cool time period, I'd say. It's like you're watching like the Empire come to power and all that. Very cool stuff. And you play as this dude, Cal Kestis, who was a Padawan when, and no spoilers by the way, this is all like introduced in the first like less than the first hour of the game. He was a Padawan during Order 66 and his master died. And he like watched his master die in like Order 66, and like then he was like he kind of like kept it under the radar, he was like the Empire, they ain't gonna find out about me being a Jedi, about me having the Force and all that. And he was just working, doing his thing, until like one day I forget what happened. Honestly, it was like I started this game a few months ago, 2 months ago, not a few months ago, but actually no, less than 2 months ago, like a month and a half ago, yeah. But he was like working like some job. He was like a scrapper or something like that, and then one day the Inquisitors came or something. Yeah, I think it was the Inquisitors came, and they're like, we know one of you was a Padawan or something like that, and then like it's like, oh, it's revealed, the Empire knows, we're hunting him down, but then some people come and save him, and these people are like, we got to rebuild the Jedi Order or whatnot. And the story of the game, it's like you're trying to rebuild it, and I think that's a really cool story, pretty cool story. Wasn't like no like particularly like big emotional moments, there's not going to be like there was no like iconic scenes or nothing like that. There was nothing like that, no like emotional like gut-wrenching moments, nothing like that. The ending was pretty cool, but other than that, nothing like that. But yeah, pretty good story, pretty nice narrative, like enough for you to follow along, like enough for you to be like engaged and like interested on like where it's going to go, what's going to happen next. But it's not like to the point where like you have to give it like your full attention, and it's not gonna like like the focus is mainly on like the gameplay, but it still has that nice story in the background because it's a story game. Yeah, speaking about the gameplay, the gameplay is good. Some good gameplay. Very good lightsaber combat. You don't really feel like you're using a lightsaber though. It's like health bars. It's not like you just cut everybody in half. No, it's like health bars, and it kind of feels like a normal sword. How like a sword would be used in like, I don't know, like a hack and slash game or like a Souls game or something like that. Kind of feels like that. Doesn't really feel like a lightsaber, but that's okay. Sometimes it does. It leaves like the little fiery effects, on the little like burnt effects after you swipe it through an enemy. But it doesn't like. There's really no. I don't think there's any dismemberment in this game, on people at least. You can cut some creatures in half and stuff like that, but I think that people, you can't really cut them into pieces, which is kind of a shame. But like this game was made after Disney bought Star Wars, so like what can you really expect, but still, that doesn't matter, as long that you can look past that pretty easily, at least I can. But so yeah, the gameplay, the combat is kind of like it's pretty similar. I said like Souls-like. It's kind of like a Souls-like game, but like this easy. It's like a Souls-like game if a Souls-like game wasn't extremely hard, if that makes sense. Trying to think of like a good comparison. What's a good comparison? Like kind of like a hack and slash game, but like with a little more difficult enemies, but it's not. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe like Metal Gear Rising, except you're not like overpowered. If that makes sense. Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison, I'd say. It's like Metal Gear Rising, except it's just a few enemies at a time. You're not like taking on whole armies. It's just like, pretty standard stuff like that. And yeah, good combat. You got some force powers. You gain them throughout the game. You got like your push. You got like your pull. You actually have this one ability. This ability that you start with. I don't think it's used in any other Star Wars movie or game, or I don't know, but you can like slow down time. You can like slow down things in time. You don't. It's not like a focus meter or nothing like that, where like your senses are heightened or like everything slows around you. It's not like that. It's like you pick a target and then that target gets slowed down and its movement. You can't really like move much, and I think that's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I didn't really use it much because it just wasn't the most useful out of all the force abilities. But I like the idea. I like the concept of them like trying to think of new ways that the force can be used. I appreciate that. Yeah, mainly the push and the pull are the main things that I was using. And then so the combat, there's like normal attacks, like you press X on the controller and you swing your lightsaber, and then there's the Y attacks, the heavy attacks. Pretty simple stuff. You can block, you can parry. Pretty good stuff. There's really good combat, I'd say. It's engaging. If the game was a little bit longer, it might get a little bit boring, but the way that we sprinkle in the new abilities and like the new lightsaber combos and stuff like that, it keeps the game fresh, and it never like really feels boring at any point in the game. And then also there's a really cool feature where you can switch between the single blade or like the double blade, like on the lightsaber, and that is really cool. And each one, it feels very unique. Like the double blade, you feel like quicker, but like you don't like feel as like heavy, if that makes sense. Like you just feel like quick and like a bunch of small light attacks versus the single saber. It's like slower, heavier attacks, which is good for like 1v1s versus like groups, which I think that's really cool. I like that a lot. I like that like switching between it kind of like it has a little bit of a difficulty curve to like knowing like when you should use which, I don't know, form, I guess. And I like that a lot. I think that was really cool. And yeah, so that's about the whole gist of the combat. There's some bosses in the game. The bosses, they're kind of hard. I didn't play on the hardest difficulty. There's 4 difficulties. I played on the second hardest, and some bosses really like got me stuck. The final boss took me like maybe like 10 tries or like a little more than that, maybe even. It took me a while, which I was not expecting from this game. I was not expecting to like struggle at all in this game. And there were some other bosses that were pretty hard. Like, yeah, I'd say most of them probably took me like 3, maybe 4 tries, which is like, that's not like crazy hard. It's not like it's not like Dark Souls or anything like that. But still like a lot harder than I thought it. I was challenged, which I thought was nice. I also did play it in like big gaps, like I'd grind it out for one day, then I'd like wait like 2 weeks and then play it again. So like that kind of didn't really help me much either. But still, the difficulty, very good. I like the difficulty that I chose. And yeah, I thought it was hard enough, but not too hard and not too easy. That was cool. What else? The planets that you go to, there's some pretty cool planets. Eventually, like they kind of like reuse them and you just go back to them. So that's, they could have had a little more, but they fleshed them out really good. The environment looks great. This game looks really nice. I really like the way this game looked, and it was the first game I played on my new monitor, so that like kind of added to it as well. I played it on my computer, which is pretty higher end computer. I ran it on like the highest settings, and it ran great. It looked great. I really liked it. I liked the way it looked. Yeah, very good looking game. It came out in 2019, I believe. Good looking game, good environments, good stuff to look at. Like, I don't know what to say. What else did I talk about? The platforming. Platforming was a big part of this game. That was not something I was expecting at all. But platforming was a pretty big part. A lot of climbing, a lot of jumping, a lot of swinging on ropes and stuff like that. And also like using the force like whilst platforming, like you'd like mid-air, like you'd pull a vine towards you and grab it, then swing to the next one and like pull it to the force, and like it took a lot of timing and stuff sometimes, and I like that. It was like engaging platforming. It wasn't like needless stupid platforming. Like I'm trying to think. I feel like it's kind of late right now. It's like 1:30. I'm kind of tired, but I wanted to make this review. I'm trying to think. I'm not very sharp right now, but what's good? There's a lot of games that have useless platforming. Why can't I think of any now? I guess like Doom Eternal, that game, it didn't need any platforming, but it had it. This game is not like that. The platforming feels good. It feels fun. It feels fluid. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. What else did I talk about? The enemies, lots of cool enemies, cool creatures. A lot of cool, there's like different stormtrooper types. There's like purge troopers. There's creatures. There's spiders, which I have to use an arachnophobia mod, so I did not see those. But yeah, a lot of cool creatures and stuff. Yeah. Enemies, get a thumbs up. What else do I usually cover in these videos? The music was cool, you know, it sounded like Star Wars. That's a thumbs up. I'm really rusty at these videos. It's been a minute. What was the last thing I reviewed? The last game I reviewed was probably like a long time ago. It was probably, I don't even know. I can't even think of, I don't even know. It's probably like at least 6 months ago. Well, it's probably Metal Hellsinger, which I played like, yeah, that was like a little less than a year ago. Actually, yeah, probably like 9 months ago. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm rusty right now, but I'll have more game reviews on the way. I'm about to beat World at War for like the 4 millionth time. Maybe I'll review that if I feel like it. Yeah, and I think this review is concluded. I don't know what else there's to talk about. I feel like there usually is more than what I've covered. I mean, this video's been running for 11 minutes already. Never mind. Maybe this is usually what I cover. The length of a game took me about 11 hours, 12 hours. That's a good length. That's a good length of a game, I'd say. What else? No, that's it. That's it. I'd give this game, I gave it a 4.5 stars on my backlogged. So I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 7. 6.5 out of 7. Jedi Fallen Order. Play this game if you like Star Wars. If you like just fun combat with a bit of a nice story in the background. I recommend this game. Really cool game. And I'm going to play the sequel at some point. I'm very Star Wars out right now. I feel like I have some crazy Star Wars fatigue right now. I've been playing a lot of Star Wars games. I'm playing a lot of Battlefront since that got revived, you know. And I watched the original trilogy and the prequels not that long ago. I almost saw the original trilogy tonight, like at like a triple feature. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, now come to think of it, because I don't think I could handle that tonight, especially after beating the game. If I beat that game and went straight to watch that, hell no. I don't think I could have done that. But anyway, yeah, if you like Star Wars, play this game. That's like I say. Also, Respawn Entertainment, that's the studio that made this game, one of my favorite studios. They made Titanfall, they made Apex Legends. That's, I guess, more people probably know what Apex Legends is than Titanfall, unfortunately. But Titanfall 2, one of my favorite games of all time. If you want to see my review on that, I don't remember the review, but I can guarantee I was going crazy about it. My college essay was a review on that game. I'm not even gonna lie, my college essay, one of my game design major, one of my college essays was a review on Titanfall 2. So I love the studio. I love the studio's games. They're a great studio. I probably should have talked about that earlier, but yeah. Anyway, I've just been rambling for a while now. I want to do more of these reviews. That was fun. I want to review more games. Yeah, anyway, maybe I will. I just haven't had much time to play games. I've been playing a lot of long games lately, like Calamity. Been playing that, like I said, since last December. And I feel like I can't review that. I've only played it once. That mod is so big, I don't feel like I could review it after this one playthrough. I'm gonna play Infernum next. Maybe I can review that. And yeah, just keep posted. Maybe I'll review more games. The food reviews, I think, got kind of boring, honestly. If you want to suggest some in the comments, feel free, but I am out of ideas for food reviews. It was so great before because I used to go to a gas station every other day for lunch with my friend. As you know, my friend Infinity Chris. And yeah, we just kind of pick whatever they had new on the shelf. And that's not the way of life anymore, unfortunately. I miss that. I miss my 7-Eleven. So yeah, food reviews haven't really been it lately, but if I see something crazy, I'll review it. Like, why not? Especially if I'm with Chris and he has some crazy camera work in these videos. But yeah. Yeah, stay subscribed if you want, I guess. Sorry, I've been lacking lately. But yeah, food reviews, I'll still do them every now and again. I'd like to, but I'm not gonna make any promises this time. My old videos, my last few videos, I made a lot of promises, like, oh, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna release a bunch of stuff, but I just can't find any good foods to review. I can't find any cool things to review. Maybe I'll start reviewing like albums or something. Although I only listen to metal music, really, so there's not a lot of variety there. But maybe I can review some of my favorite metal albums. That could be fun. I could do that for sure. I feel like I'm well acquainted enough now with music to where I could do that. But yeah, if there's any suggestions, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below of what to do. I could start doing movie reviews maybe. I've done that a few times, but I don't feel like I'm not like locked in enough with movies. I feel like I don't know my movie stuff. I can say like pretty much all I can say about movies is like whether like I was engaged with it or not, and like that's about it. Like I'm not the biggest I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, the biggest the most knowledgeable, that's the word, on like the whole like movie making process and all that. So like I don't know about that. I'm not locked in with movies like I am with games, but I can still do that. Maybe. God, just made a very bizarre sound. But yeah, more game reviews coming up soon. I forgot how hard it is to just like stare at my own face while making these reviews for that long. So I'm just gonna turn it off now. Okay, have a Fallen Order, have a Order-tastic day, have a Force-tastic day, have a Star Wars-tastic day, have a yeah. Goodbye.